Welcome to Overtime Stories. If you're new here, take a moment to subscribe and join the journey. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and every bit of support truly means a lot.
The situation in Cleveland just took a sharp turn, and this time it's not coming from fans or loud TV panels. It's coming straight from inside the building. Insider Mary Kay has now confirmed that the Browns board has been holding behind-the-scenes meetings focused on identifying a potential new head coach, and the timing says everything. These talks reportedly escalated after what sources claim was growing internal concern over how Shedeur was handled, developed, and ultimately stalled during recent games. This isn't about one bad loss or one ugly press conference. This is about trust-breaking at the top. According to sources close to the situation, ownership and senior executives believe the mishandling of Shedeur created a domino effect that damaged locker room belief, public perception, and long-term quarterback planning. The word being used internally isn't struggles, it's sabotage, and that language alone explains why these meetings are happening now. Mary Kay's confirmation sent shockwaves because she's not known for reckless reporting. When she speaks, it usually means conversations have moved past speculation into action. Sources claim the board feels the coaching staff failed to protect Shedeur structurally, mentally, and strategically, putting him in bad spots repeatedly while preaching patience publicly. That disconnect raised red flags. Cleveland didn't invest in a young quarterback just to watch confidence drain out on national television. The board reportedly believes the situation crossed from development into damage control, and once that line is crossed, accountability follows. These meetings aren't casual check-ins. Names are being discussed, profiles are being built, philosophies are being compared. The Browns aren't panicking, but they're no longer waiting either. When ownership starts asking who else is out there, it usually means the clock is already ticking. As more details leak, it's becoming clear these board meetings weren't triggered overnight. As sources claim, frustration had been building for weeks, especially after internal film reviews showed repeated protection breakdowns, inconsistent play calling, and mixed messaging around Shedeur's role. Executives reportedly questioned why adjustments seen in practice never carried over to game day. That gap mattered. The board is said to believe Shedeur was put in a position where mistakes were amplified instead of managed. That's a coaching failure in their eyes. Mary Kay's report emphasized that these meetings intensified after key voices inside the organization raised concerns about confidence erosion.
Sorry to interrupt, but hit that subscribe button real quick. It really helps the channel grow.
Confidence is currency for quarterbacks. Once it drops, recovery isn't guaranteed. Sources claim ownership felt blindsided by how fast public perception turned, especially when respected analysts began pointing fingers upward instead of at the player. That shift is dangerous for coaches. Internally, there's belief that the staff failed to read the room, sticking to rigid systems instead of adapting to the moment. The Browns aren't looking for excuses anymore. They're looking for solutions. These board discussions reportedly include what kind of leader is needed to stabilize the quarterback room, regain locker room trust, and reset the narrative. It's not about style points, it's about control. When a rookie quarterback becomes the headline for the wrong reasons, leadership is questioned immediately. The board reportedly views Shedeur as salvageable, but only if the environment changes. That belief fuels urgency. Cleveland doesn't want to waste another year finding out too late. That's why these meetings feel different from routine evaluations. They feel deliberate. Behind closed doors, the Browns' front office is said to be split, and that tension is spilling upward. As sources claim, some executives believe the current staff can still fix the situation, while others think the damage is already done. Mary Kay's confirmation suggests the latter group is gaining traction. When boards start gathering information, it's rarely neutral. They're asking hard questions now. Was Shedeur developed or exposed? Was patience preached but not practiced? Did stubbornness outweigh adaptation? These questions don't come up unless leadership confidence is shaken. Sources say ownership is especially concerned about how the situation looks league-wide. Other teams are watching. Agents are watching. Quarterbacks notice patterns. Cleveland has lived through quarterback instability before, and the board doesn't want history repeating itself. That's why the word sabotage keeps surfacing internally. It implies intent doesn't matter, the outcome does. And the outcome hasn't been acceptable. The board reportedly reviewed sequences where Shedeur was left in obvious passing situations without protection help, followed by public comments that didn't align with film. That mismatch created trust issues. Trust issues spread fast in NFL buildings. Once players sense confusion at the top, performance drops. Mary Kay's reporting made it clear these meetings aren't hypothetical. They're active. Backgrounds are being reviewed. Philosophies are being compared. The Browns want a coach who builds quarterbacks, not one who breaks them trying to prove a system works. That's the internal vibe. Whether action comes now or later, the direction feels set. The locker room reaction is another reason the board is moving carefully but firmly. As sources claim, veteran players are paying close attention to how Shedeur is treated, because quarterback handling reflects leadership integrity. When young quarterbacks are publicly defended but privately restricted, players notice. That disconnect weakens belief. Mary Kay's confirmation reportedly came after players quietly voiced concern about direction, not effort. Effort isn't the problem. Structure is. The board understands that losing the locker room starts with losing the quarterback room. Once that happens, recovery is rare. That's why these meetings aren't just about wins and losses. They're about culture reset. Cleveland wants stability, clarity, and confidence restored. The board reportedly believes a new voice may be needed to stop the bleeding. They aren't interested in scapegoats. They're interested in leadership. The Browns know the optics are brutal. A young quarterback, high expectations, and national scrutiny create a volatile mix. Mishandle it, and reputations suffer. Mary Kay's report suggests ownership doesn't want to be reactive, but they refuse to be passive. That balance is hard. The pressure is real. Every game now carries evaluation weight. Coaches feel it. Players feel it. The building feels it. League insiders say Cleveland's situation has become a cautionary tale in real time. As sources claim, rival executives are watching closely, not out of sympathy, but curiosity. How the Browns handle this moment will define their reputation for years. Mary Kay's confirmation of board involvement signals seriousness. Teams don't like public embarrassment, and this saga has been loud. The board reportedly believes allowing Shedeur's confidence to erode publicly hurt the franchise brand. Brand matters. Free agents notice chaos. Quarterbacks avoid instability. The Browns are trying to get ahead of that narrative before it calcifies. That's why these meetings feel urgent but controlled. No leaks were supposed to happen, yet here they are. That alone suggests internal tension. When information escapes, it usually means multiple factions are involved. The board is weighing timing, optics, and impact. They know pulling the trigger too fast creates backlash. Waiting too long creates regret. That's the knife edge they're walking. One thing seems clear. Shedeur is not the problem in the board's eyes. The environment is. And environments can be changed. As pressure mounts, the current coaching staff is reportedly operating under a microscope. As sources claim, every decision, every quote, every adjustment is now logged and reviewed. That's never a comfortable place to work. Mary Kay's reporting implies this evaluation phase isn't symbolic. It's active. Coaches know it. Staffers know it. The building energy shifts when leadership reviews escalate. Some insiders believe the board wants a coach who prioritizes adaptability over rigidity, communication over ego, and quarterback protection over system pride. Those traits are being discussed openly. The Browns don't want another reset, but they fear stagnation more. That fear drives action. The Shedeur situation accelerated everything. What might have taken a season now feels immediate. Cleveland doesn't want to explain another wasted quarterback to fans or sponsors. The stakes are high. Silence won't save anyone now. This saga is far from over, and Mary Kay's confirmation may be just the first domino. As sources claim, the Browns board is preparing for multiple scenarios, including a midseason shift or a quiet transition plan. Nothing is final, but nothing is off the table either. The message is clear. Shedeur's handling changed the timeline. Cleveland believed it was building something. Instead, it found itself repairing damage. That realization forced hard conversations. The league is watching how accountability unfolds. Whether change comes now or later, the direction has shifted. The Browns are no longer evaluating players first. They're evaluating leadership. That's a dangerous stage for any staff. The tension around the Browns has now crossed into a phase where silence is louder than statements. And that's exactly why this situation feels explosive. As sources claim, the board-level meetings didn't just focus on replacing a head coach, but on repairing credibility across the entire organization. Credibility with players, credibility with agents, credibility with future quarterbacks watching from the outside. The Shedeur situation didn't just expose coaching flaws, it exposed a communication breakdown between football leadership and ownership expectations. That's dangerous territory. When boards feel the need to step in, it usually means internal reporting no longer matches external reality. Insiders say ownership believed the team was progressing, while film, locker room feedback, and league reaction told a very different story. That disconnect forced intervention. Sources claim some board members were particularly alarmed by how quickly narratives flipped league-wide, with respected analysts openly questioning Cleveland's ability to develop quarterbacks. Once that label sticks, it's hard to wash off. Cleveland knows this. That's why urgency has replaced patience behind closed doors. Another layer to this scandal is how Shedeur's situation reportedly impacted free agent perception. As sources claim, agents quietly flagged Cleveland as unstable in recent conversations, pointing directly to mixed messaging and visible frustration on the sideline. That kind of reputation hurts recruiting fast. Veterans don't want chaos. Quarterbacks don't want confusion. The board reportedly views this as an organizational emergency, not just a football issue. That's why discussions aren't limited to play-calling philosophies. They're about leadership temperament, public accountability, and crisis management. Cleveland wants a coach who understands optics as much as schemes. Optics matter in the modern NFL. One viral clip can outweigh 10 quiet explanations. Insiders also claim the board is reviewing how concerns were escalated internally and why early warning signs weren't acted on sooner. That review is uncomfortable. It puts pressure not just on coaches, but on executives tasked with oversight. When problems linger too long, responsibility spreads. That's another reason this feels bigger than one potential firing. It's a structural reckoning. The Browns don't want another cycle of blame shifting. They want alignment. Alignment between ownership vision and football execution. Shedeur's handling exposed misalignment brutally. What makes this moment volatile is timing. The season is still alive, but confidence is shaky. Move too fast and it looks reactionary. Move too slow and damage deepens. Sources say the board is weighing both outcomes carefully, but patience is thin. Every press conference, every game plan, every sideline exchange now feeds the evaluation. Coaches feel watched. Players feel uncertainty. Uncertainty erodes performance. The Browns know this spiral well from past eras, and they're desperate not to relive it. This chapter of the saga isn't about confirmation or denial anymore. It's about consequence. Mary Kay's reporting didn't create the fire. It revealed the smoke that was already filling the building. The Browns are at a fork in the road, and whichever direction they choose will define how this franchise is viewed for years. Stability or chaos, clarity or confusion, protection or exposure. Shedeur became the flashpoint, but the real story is power, accountability, and whether Cleveland finally breaks its own cycle. This chapter isn't the end. It's the pressure point where decisions stop being theoretical and start becoming real.